John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, in love with Aslan, and also some arrow weaving. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
And hold. Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be alone with the Bale Greenhead in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk on movies, TV shows, and I also do random other geeky films. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. So I ask everyone listening, please do sign for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. Now let's smash right into this episode. Today's episode is a review of Beetlejuice with my friend Brayden. And how you doing, Brayden?
I'm doing okay. Had a little bizarre week, but I find
understandable.
Yeah. But I'm in a fun mood. I'm excited to talk about Beetlejuice with you.
Oh yeah. I love the Beetlejuice franchise. And for a long time, I absolutely love the first Beetlejuice film. I watched it so many times as a kid. I honestly now I find it a little disappointing whenever I watch it anymore. And it's mainly because of having seen the musical, which has so much more in it. Now anytime that I watch the original Beetlejuice, I at the end I'm just like, that's it. A big part of that is because of how little Beetlejuice is actually in it. I want more Beetlejuice, and that's one of the big reasons why I like the sequel even more than the first film. Because it has more Beetlejuice in it.
Oh yeah, I get that. Because it was fun. I still love the original film, but the sequel I argue is better in a lot of ways because there's a lot of just Beetlejuice is actually a character in that film. And with the first film, he's clearly just a plot device because because really the main story of the first film is between the Maitlands and the Dietz family. But with the second film, it's clearly just about Beetlejuice and Lydia. Yeah, I mean it's kind of funny how those two are kind of like the pairing of the franchise. Even the cartoons, it's about them.
Yeah,
it's always about them. And then but with the sequel, I argue it's kind of more funny, and we get more of Beetlejuice's backstory.
Sequel is definitely more funny and so the one thing that I do get annoyed about with the sequel is that the way that Tim Burton dealt with not being able to bring back Jeffrey Jones. I don't like the way that he did it because he still used Jeffrey Jones's likeness. So that means that Jeffrey Jones still will have got money from the film.
Well, I'd be curious about that, but because it's also claymation, I wonder if maybe there was some legal loophole. Because again, obviously, I'm shocked they didn't cast it.
They used his likeness for the claymation, and they also used pictures of him, or either pictures or a painting, any sign like that of him. And I just I'm like, you could have just shown nothing of his face, and then there wouldn't even have to be a worry about that. Annoyingly though, Jeffrey Jones, he did not get nearly as much of of it being a career-ending thing when he got arrested for having for being in possession of child porn, he literally, after getting arrested, he got cast in a TV show called Deadwood and was on there for many years and then came back for that show's revival.
Yeah, well, because it was funny because like he actually killed the Ferris Bueller sequel revival movie. They were gonna do another movie back in like the 2010s. It didn't happen because they didn't want to bring it back, and I guess they could recast it. And seemingly the only thing they could do was kill off the character. I hope he did get paid, generally, but like if he did, well, that's kind of whatever. I'm just glad they killed off the character. I mean, I guess it comes to recasting. They couldn't find someone that looked like him. I guess.
I'm just like I get not being able to find someone who looks like him, but I'm just like you could have killed him off and then showed nothing that had his face on it, and that it would and then there would be no chance that you would have gotten paid for it, I'm pretty sure like because they did show his likeness, you legally they would have had to pay him for it.
Well, you'd be surprised because there are some loopholes for certain things. I mean, I hope not. Um, I mean, I think because like even if he didn't do anything wrong in real life, you could argue that the dad character wasn't that fun in the first movie. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because he's sick of the wood. So like, uh, but I understand what
Also,
you
like,
mean.
the way the first film ends off, they could have easily like had that he's just not in her life anymore, or it maybe he has died, but like it doesn't matter because like she was living in there with the Maitlands at the end of it,
Well,
and then they also did bring back the Maitlands.
yeah, well, they definitely could because just I love Gia Davis and even though he's an asshole, Alec Baldwin is a talented actor. There's no way in hell any de-aging CGI could have done like I mean even if they got like standard actors who look like them, I think that would have been awkward. And seemingly two implies they made up some form of peace and moved on because their unfinished business
Mhm.
was they wanted to raise a family. And I guess when they were being foster parents to Lydia, they seemingly moved on. Now, with two, they kind of explain why she left the house. Because it seems like it's her mother or her stepmother, played by Catherine O'Hara, she's the only one who stayed. So the way I took it was like, okay, the only way to make her leave, what Rhoda Ryder's character, is to say that the Maitlands moved on and that she developed her career.
Mhm.
And I think it's actually kind of funny that she became a TV psychic because she actually does have powers. But seemingly, up until Beetlejuice comes back, she wasn't really doing anything supernatural for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One thing I think it's interesting to think about from the first film. So there's this scene where they're eating I think Chinese food or some form or of Asian food, and Lydia makes a comment about how much MSG there is in it. I'm so curious like whether that comment was like her genuinely being upset about that, or if she was making fun of how her stepmom acts. I said like I hope it's that she was making fun of how her stepmom acts because like a lot of the because I'm pretty sure from I've heard like a lot of the hate that a lot of people have for MSG does come from racist things.
The way I took it, because like she's a teenager. It's the '80s. I guess I just took it as like maybe she could be saying that to
I
fuck
think
with her stepmom,
yeah,
or
I
maybe
was
she's saying,
like I think it's much funnier if it's she was fucking with her stepmom and not that that was sign that she dislikes.
ah, yeah, I get that. It was funny because like with the first Beetlejuice, there because there's a lot of good practical effects. It's a very tight
Mhm.
script, and the movie was rewritten a bunch of times because actually the plot was actually a lot darker, a lot different, and there was even like there's a lot of good choices that happened by accident, I think,
Mhm.
and I feel the first film they lucked into the right story. Well, with the sequel film, knew what to do better. In regards
Yeah.
to like, there's more fun ghosts, there's more fun mythology in the second film. I like Beetlejuice's ex-wife,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But with the first film, I still think the ending of the first film, at least like the last 10 minutes with the wedding ceremony and all like the crazy stuff that happens, I think it's still really cool. It's still fun
Oh
to me. I
yeah.
think.
I really like that. Like it. It is definitely like very weird. This idea of Beetlejuice marrying her since she's a minor,
Yeah.
but Beetlejuice is supposed to be a piece of shit. So yeah, but like yeah, I like all of that. I like that. But that's it's also though where I get very disappointed. Like I want more of that in it, that craziness, and a lot of film does not have that craziness. Beetlejuice doesn't really fully show up till like 45 minutes into the film.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? Uh, because actually, there's a funny moment. This almost got renamed the first film. Warner Bros. Wanted to call it House Ghosts because they argued that Beetlejuice isn't the main character; he shouldn't be the top character. Tim Burton hated that name idea, and then he says, "How about we call it Scared Sheetless?" And he was horrified when Warner Bros. Actually considered calling that. He says, "No, we're just calling it Beetlejuice." And they said, "Well, how do you spell it?"
God.
It's like, "What do you mean?" It's like we have it spelled like this in the film, and it's like, just use the actual name of Beetlejuice, not because remember, it's because in the film and in both films, it's with Beetlegeuse,
Mm.
Geuse. Now, seemingly, that's supposed to be his actual name
Yeah,
from
I
his human life before he died.
wait.
But then they were like, oh no, fuck, let's just call it Beetlejuice as in Beetle and then juice because that's easier to spell and
Yeah,
people will like that.
the whole thing with the anyway, his name is very weird to me because it's because they the people behind making the film said that Beetle guys or however it's pronounced is like what the original version of the name was going to be, but and they have that spelling in the film, but but they also have in the film that Beetlejuice uses an actual beetle and a juice carton to make her understand what his name make Lydia understand her name his name. So he clearly does us think his name is Beetlejuice and not the other. Or I personally, I came up with this headcanon that I posted on Twitter. Or I think that Beetlejuice just doesn't know how to spell, so he spells his name like as Beetle guys when it's actually is Beetlejuice.
Which is kind of funny because when it comes to making magical contracts, that shit has writing on it. So seemingly he can spell other stuff just like his name, which is actually really funny.
Oh yeah.
But there is a bit of a plot moment that I'm like, okay, this is why. When Alec Baldwin, Adam Maitland, he's reading the thing. He says, "Beetle guys, Beetle guys, Beetle guys." Obviously, he doesn't show up because he can't hear it because he only likes to hear the name Beetlejuice. So seemingly, it's like I often wonder if he doesn't misprint it. Maybe he misprinted because he didn't want people to say his name over and over again, summoned too many times,
Mhm.
or because there's even like kind of a that old lady in the first movie. She's seemingly his mentor from like for whatever for the afterlife
Mhm.
agency. And she at one point says, no, he was supposed to be someone like me to help ghosts move on, but he felt it was easier to scare humans and make a living for it. We don't say his name. Now, I often wonder if like maybe he did a name change based off when he was working at the company. Like if Beetlegeist was his agent name and then Beetlejuice is his name as an exorcist, a human exorcist.
Mhm.
And then it is
It
kind of
can
funny because
also though be a sign where the company, because they don't want him being able to get clients, they may have used some kind of magic to change all the signs and lines and pieces of paper to say this wrong name.
and you know what's funny? There's something interesting in the first film. Because again, you can kind of the first film was so awesome, right? But you could kind of feel like some of the maneuvering because they had to rewrite some stuff. When the old lady she tells him he's in your miniature house. Now they didn't summon him; his work showed up. It's like he was watching them. Now I remember someone had a fan theory because remember the Maitlands they die at the bridge, right? That like they die from
Mhm.
whatever. Then a year goes by and the deets move in. There was someone who had a fan theory that Beetlejuice was watching the house, that maybe he was waiting for someone to die, and then he's waiting for human people to move in so he can scare them out. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people are kind of like, it's weird that he knows already to go there before they hire them, before they hire him. Like,
I always assumed until at least until the sequel came out and actually showed his on his backstory. I always assumed that he lived in that house at some point, and he just like the Maitlands was stuck there. But the sequel obviously makes it that that's not really the case. It showed him his life before dying, and it also had that he appears at another house in town. But like I for years thought that he just like the Maitlands was stuck at that house.
yeah, I get that. 'Cause just right, I wouldn't be surprised. I do think a third film's gonna happen because the second movie made a lot of money. Leona and Michael clearly have fun, work together, same with Burton. I wouldn't be surprised if the third film happens. And even with the ending of that second film, they kind of tease what the third film might be. Now, originally, they kind of mentioned this. The original idea for the second film was that Beetlejuice was going to have a son of some kind, and that the son was going to date Jenna Ortega. Now, they covered the son idea, but there was a moment where I'm like, yeah, for all I know, he could have family, because, like, in the afterlife, you do tease that life keeps going on if you don't move on,
Mm.
if you don't go to an afterlife. So I'm like, maybe he has family that will cause issues in the third film, which I can see happening. Because, like,
He also in the first film mentions that he has people on the outside he wants to meet up with.
yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe he does have family
yeah.
or like descendants and it's in that are still alive.
I can see that. It's funny because even when they mention when they show the well, it's a great reveal too when Jenna Ortega's character Astrid is her name, and she's dating that ghost guy Jeremy. And it's revealed that Jeremy killed his parents, and then he died when he was a teenager. Right? There was a moment in my head where I thought, "Huh, I wonder if Beetlejuice knows him." Now, seemingly he doesn't, but when he gets rid of him as part of a thing, he tries to blackmail his way back into Lydia's life. There were moments in my head where I'm like, did you arrange certain things? Because even with like the fact that Lydia's dad died, and then Lydia's stepmother gets dies too, and he uses that as a way to blackmail his way to the third act of the movie. I often kept wondering, like, how much were you pulling on just in case? Because seemingly, because in the second film, his wife coming back is what fast forwarded his plans by accident. Because like he was watching Lydia, but he didn't want to come back yet. And one thing I do like the fact they keep it as a rule for a ghost to become a human again and alive, you have to either get married or another soul has to trade years with you.
Mhm.
Which I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's kind of whatever. Now seemingly though, with Beetlejuice, I think the reason why he wants to marry Lydia is because she's a psychic. So I think he thinks he can keep his magic after he marries her,
I
which
could see
obviously hasn't
that.
happened yet. Because if you want to be a human again, that's fine, but you're gonna lose your powers, right? If you become a human, in my opinion, unless he thinks he can keep them if he marries someone magical like Lydia.
Yeah, I could definitely see something like that being the case. And I as I think I mentioned to you on Twitter before this
Huh?
recorded how what I want for the third film is that he does get his wish of coming back to life, and he's like chasing Lydia and Astrid around the world. Oh, I still would want him to have his hours for that because I feel like it would be kind of boring if it's just a film where just this old dude is following them.
And you know what's funny? That ending, that sequel ending, it's a fun vision, but there are moments where I think is this gonna be the plot of the whole film, where Jenna Ortega she gives birth to a baby Beetlejuice that seemingly just happened. I guess like maybe she falls in love with one of his descendants or something, because she goes to Italy, right? She goes to another country. Now they imply that he's from Italy too, with Monica Bellucci's character, that they're from another country during the Black Plague, and then that's where they both died. If he did have a kid and they lived elsewhere and had more and more kids to modern day in Italy, for all we know, in the third film, she does fall in love with his grandson or something. And then maybe he used that as a way to reincarnate. Because the only thing that throws me off, even though it's a funny gag, and I think it's super funny because of the way they're playing it. No, we wonder why she's terrified when she has that dream, right? And then Michael Keaton sits up next to her in bed, and he says, "I just had a crazy dream." The only thing I can think of is like, wait, did you both dream the future? Like, if this is the third film, did you both dream the future of what's going to be the plot of the third film, or is he just fucking with her? Yeah, I mean, it was gonna be kind of funny.
took it as just fucking with her, but I'm not sure. Um, but I like with like the first film. I don't like dislike the film.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like
It's just
not
very
like
normal in
it's just
retrospect.
like I not a film that I love nearly as much anymore because I've seen something that I think is better.
No, I
I
understand that.
like I obviously rewatched it twice for this podcast, but like but like I also like right before watching the sequel back in 2024, I also rewatched it then, and I had given it a 3 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd when I did that because because it is just like so normal and not crazy easy for most of the film. But there are still a lot of things I do like in it. Like I like most of the castings, honestly, other than and Jeffrey Jones, but like I enjoy all the characters and hers and um, I the practical effects is great. I love like the look of everything for the underworld is so fun and topsy turvy. I love that they're this little world that it's in the attic, which like when I was younger, I always thought that like that's where Beetlejuice lived.
Mm.
In that in their little um the table that has this little version of the town on it. I always thought like that he lives in there, which I think is such a funny little idea. It's like and like they in the sequel they didn't show that that's the case, but I also don't think they like really made it clear that that's not the case because like he could have been when we showed they showed him at home or in his office sort of thing. Uh, that could have been like the interior of one of those little houses.
Well, I think you're kind of onto because one to me one of the best parts of two. It's a great visual. It was obviously in all the trailers, but like when he's in the act, he goes to see Lydia. He comes out of the board game first, like the miniature place first.
Yeah.
Because even when she goes up there to see it, Lydia, like earlier with her and Astrid, she's shocked by what's still there. I guess she just assumed the maintenance cleaned up the place, or maybe her parents got rid of some stuff. But like she's like, oh no, wait a minute. If this is here, then he can come back. And like, even though I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I don't think he moved on. Yeah, I mean, I guess she just assumed he wouldn't bother her anymore, which is obviously not the case.
He has decided that she is going to be the one that he has for all time.
Yeah, but there's I also love the fact there are moments where the second film so builds on stuff for the first film that I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, that's right. Because one of the fun parts of two is when Lydia and Astrid they go to one of Jupiter's moons, like they go to that one planet with the sandworms or whatever, and Astrid goes, okay, so you know what this place is? And Lydia goes, no, I've never been here, which is true because the first one she never went. The only thing she saw was Greta Davis on the sandworm to kill Beetlejuice
Mhm.
in the first one. That's the only thing she saw. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's a fun little like cap off to that joke.
Oh yeah. Um, and then we see in the sequel that I may be wrong about this because I haven't seen the sequel since it came out, but the chapel that they have on their property in the sequel, I'm I'm guessing that's what was being built during this film on the outside of their of the house.
Oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. And one thing that I think is kind of underrated, uh, in regards to the little town, I think one of the reasons why I like the sequel a little bit better is that we do see the town because we go into town, we see a
Yeah.
bunch of other stuff, and I often wonder what happened to certain characters because it's a fun little moment. It's so sad, but like there's a moment where you see the maintenance neighbor, right? And then a year later, after they're dead, we see the mom. This is random neighbor talking to Lydia, saying, "Oh yeah, I knew the people that lived here. Cute couple, wonderful. It's a shame what happened to her." And she drives off. We never see her again.
Mhm.
And there was a moment where, like, huh, what happened to her? I remember someone had a fan theory that she was Jeremy's mom, that Jeremy that the Jeremy that killed his parents also killed her or something, or that maybe he killed went on a killing spree and killed her. Which I'm
I can
like,
see that.
maybe, but I don't know. We never see the house, so
Yeah. One thing I find interesting in the first film is like so the the deeds as they remodeled the house into this ugly art piece is uh they are clearly very willing to break and remove things that are part of the house in order to do it. So why didn't they just break through the door to the or to the attic instead of just being like, oh, we can't go up there because it's locked.
I guess maybe the other thing I think of is that Lydia and the dad was deliberately distracting Catherine O'Hara, or maybe her friend Otho, who was actually really funny. The
Oh
big
yeah,
guy
yeah, he
who's
was
like
great.
designing whatever. I think he was just focused on the rest of the house. I guess.
Yeah. Um. So I think we've talked about a lot of the different stuff in the off in this early first film. There's it is like for lack of a better word, a pretty simple film. So it's not like there's a lot to talk about. But I do want to talk a bit about like the differences between this and the musical version. And that I went to see once on. So two of the biggest differences is one, on there is a lot more or Beetlejuice himself in the musical. He is very much one of the main characters of it. He appears from the very first scene of the musical. And they which like the first scene of the musical is is him showing up at a funeral, which is fun. And like also and then also the musical has an entire storyline that is not a part of the film. The which is that which is, you know how in the film the first one at least, they don't even mention Lydia's mom.
Yeah, yeah,
And the sequel I think has like one very short mention of
yeah,
her
yeah,
mom, but like in the musical, there is a entire storyline of how like her mom died, and that's the reason why Lydia is now so interested in death and in the macabre, and and the they a big part of the final act of the film, or not the film of the musical,
uh-huh.
is that Lydia goes into the underworld to search for her mom, and her dad follows her because he's worried about her, and and then there's then some other things that are different. It's like a Beetlejuice is definitely a bit more of he's still bad, but he's still a bit more of a sympathetic a figure who has more of an arc in it, and a
uh,
arc in it where like he does some bad things, but in the end he does care about Lydia,
uh,
and he and so like so in the caseworker, the old lady caseworker, she in the musical is Beetlejuice's abusive mother, and she's the real villain of it. And the and he does end up marrying Lydia for a very brief even amount of time, and like because and so he becomes alive briefly, so briefly before I think if I remember, somebody killed him again, and because of that, he in the end, and as a thank you to Lydia for letting him get to experience life even for a short time again, he saves her and her father from the underworld. And and then also also instead of the book for the handbook for the recently deceased ace being any sign that appears throughout it. It very immediately after the Maitland's died, I Beetlejuice shows up and he throws that book into the fire, burning it. And then there's also it also has a lot more or sex jokes and a lot more cursing in it, and particularly has a lot more cursing in it. Whereas the as this has this movie has one f bomb because it's PG-13. I mean, there he said Beetlejuice says fuck constantly during it, and like one of my favorite scenes is like a really funny way that he's of him just like saying "fuck you guys" to the Maitlands, and like I think there's and then as I mentioned, there's just a lot more to it. It because it is like twice the length of the movie, and like between all of those things, it's like being added to the story. I like the musical a lot more, or and I think that and I understand my disappointment from this first film. It's very much a me problem, because I've seen this thing that I think is so much better and makes this other thing feel disappointing. So like I to anybody I listening who may somehow has not seen the original Beetlejuice, do not take my words of finding it disappointing as it actually is a very disappointing film. That's just because that's just my changed point of view.
No, no, I understand that. I've never seen the musical, but I want to check it out now. And actually, it's funny because the sequel actually references the musical. Now I think about it, because the musical, Astrid goes to the underworld because she wants to see her dead dad,
Mhm.
and then Lydia has to stop her, which is similar to what you told me about the musical,
Yeah.
where it's Lydia and her dad in reverse trying to find the mom. Uh, the clerk being Beetlejuice's mother is actually a neat idea to tie it all in together. Uh, and also like that's actually a great way to extend it because I heard the music was 4 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it's around 4 hours. I'll
yeah,
make
so listen,
sure,
that
but yeah,
because it has to be like 5 acts, right? So
I
that
believe
actually
so.
makes a lot of sense, and that's a great way to extend the original film, I think, and make it its own thing. I know Michael Keaton. He talked about. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen that musical. The guy does a good
Uh,
job. I don't want
I'm
to steal anything from him.
I'm wrong. Wrong. It is 2.5 hours.
2.5
But that's
hours.
still an hour longer than the movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that still sounds like a lot of fun. And also, I do like when musicals add more to the original plot,
Oh yeah,
especially when it's based off a movie or something else. That sounds a lot of fun. I do
and
want to check that out. I think people who love the movie should check it out.
definitely.
With Beetlejuice, with the original film, I still love it a lot. I still think the sequel and the cartoon are more fun expressions, and I
Hmm.
haven't seen the musical yet, but just from the songs I do know, it seems like a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah, it's the
Um,
songs are definitely one of the best parts. I my favorite of the songs is "Say My Name," where it's literally like the scene in the movie of him trying to get Lydia to say his name, but like in song and like I think there's it's a really fun one on. I think all the songs are really fun, and yeah. I really hope that because obviously it's expensive to be able to go see it, the musical. No, so most people are not able to see it. I really hope that either it's adapted into a movie version of the musical, like Wicked or Mean Girls did, or simply a recording of it gets made and put
and
on
put
a
out.
streaming service
Yeah, yeah,
like Hamilton did for it on Disney Plus.
yeah, yeah. I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. I think Warner Bros. Would want to do that for more money. Uh, you know, And another fun thing about Beetlejuice that I think is kind of underrated, just across the films at least, is that Michael Keaton is a great actor. Everyone
Oh
loves
yeah.
him. And it's actually kind of funny because he did comedies in the '80s and even the early '90s, but since then he's mostly known for either Batman or dramas, or even
Mhm.
or even recent like Birdman, Vulture, Spotlight, some other stuff. Like he's a great actor.
Oh
Everyone
yeah.
loves him. But it is kind of funny. I do think Hollywood misuses comedy because like he clearly loves playing Beetlejuice. He clearly loves playing comedic characters. He doesn't always get the chance, which is kind of interesting. And he and we other
Which is very interesting because
yeah,
like before Batman, he was primarily known as a comedy actor
yeah,
and
Mr. Mom. Yeah,
literally with Batman, many people got pissed at his casting because he was a comedy actor.
yeah. But like a lot of comedians are great at drama. And obviously he's one of
Oh
the
yeah.
exceptions. Like he completely rebranded himself as a dramatic actor later on in life. Like he still does drama now. Uh, you know, and he clearly because what's funny, I do think if you ever watch the Beetlejuice films back to back, the first film and then the sequel, you can clearly tell he has not missed a step. You know how some
Oh
people
yeah.
like some
He's
actors when they play a character after a certain point, there's a difference. Not just the age difference, but there's a difference where the actor forgot some stuff. With him and even with Wyona as Lydia, they clearly love these characters so
oh
much. They
yeah.
know they're like the back of their hand.
They're
You can see it,
so good
both
in
of
the
them.
sequel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, so with Beetlejuice again, like the first film is really fun and fast. Now the sequel's a bit longer, I think, but as a duology, I recommend just watching them back to back for fun, especially around Halloween time later this year.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I do think a third film will happen. I hope it happens soon because I'd rather it happen in a few years from now, not too late.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, since isn't Michael Keaton getting pretty up there in age?
yeah. I mean, he's aged well. Same with now even like again now. I'm not gonna lie, when he does pass, I think any other Beetlejuice version after Michael Keaton's passing should only be the musical, because in my head, when it comes to movie Beetlejuice, it's Michael Keaton who can't sing.
Mhm.
He just dubs songs, right? So if he was to retire from the character, or if he does pass away, and Warner Bros. Wants to do a new Beetlejuice movie like 10 years after his potential death, just stop the musical because I think that's a great way to dissociate
Yeah.
from his original version and anything else. But for now, while Michael Keaton is still here, and he and Winona Ryder are game, just do a third film if you guys want to. Because in theory, because say Tim Burton, I have some issues with him, but he's still a great director. He's never done a proper trilogy. He's never completed a trilogy in his entire career. At least you can say he could do one
Interesting.
that's his own.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't catch what you were saying of like what like Michael Keane said about the musical
But
Beetlejuice the actor. What was it?
he was asked about the musical a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And I swear he said good things about the guy. And he said, I don't want to. Because somebody asked him, would you reference him in this new movie, in the second film?
Mhm.
And he said, oh, no, I don't want to rip him off. Like, I don't want to rip off his performance. Like, that's what he meant. So, like that. And I think even Tim Burton was also kind of like, oh, no, we don't want to. Some people were asking, were you guys doing any of the songs in the second movie? And I think they were like, oh, no, we're not going to step on their toes, which is
I
funny
think
because,
like I get not wanting to step on their toes, but I like I before the second one came out and like now for any potential third one, I do want the musical version of Beetlejuice to make a cameo in it.
I think that would be,
So I think
I
it'd
think
be so cool to see them meet. And like I imagine the Michael Keaton version of Beetlejuice would be would get pissed off at his at the other our Beetlejuice singing, and I think that would be really funny.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool because even it's funny. Like one little fun cameo too that I think is kind of funny. Danny DeVito shows up for like one scene in
Mm.
Beetlejuice 2, but there are more moments where I'm like, fuck it. If they do make a third film, Tim Burton should just go all out. Yeah, bring all his favorite
Yeah.
actors back. Michelle Pfeiffer, uh, you know, like so many people they could just bring back for fun.
Mhm.
Christopher Walken, whatever. Just go all out because like, and also um, a big element too that I hope comes back in the next one, whether it be Beetlejuice's ex-wife is Willem Dafoe's character, the
Oh
actor
yeah.
who was
He was
playing
everyone very
cops,
fun.
and then he becomes a detective in the afterlife. Oh, like, that's a funny ass joke, and Willem Dafoe's
Uh,
perfect for that role.
like for a third film, I like obviously I want Beetlejuice back. I want Lydia and Astra back. And then then the Willem Dafoe's cop and the and definitely want his ex-wife to come back because because I don't think they used her enough
Yeah, she only has
in
so much screen time.
Beetlejuice
Yeah,
as Beetlejuice. And then also as I mentioned on Twitter, I want to see a Miss Argentina come back, and I think that Zoe Deschanel would be a perfect person to replace the original actress since that original actress sadly passed away.
yeah. That's the thing. Say what you will about like Ghostbusters Afterlife. One of the things I do love in that movie is that when Olivia Wilde, she comes in to play the stand-in for Gozer, actually because she looks like the original model. And I think people are fine with recastings if you have a good excuse, like somebody passed away,
Yeah.
somebody doesn't want to do it anymore. So if there are, and I know the logic with the ghost moving on in Beetlejuice is that like, oh no, they moved on, they're in heaven or hell or whatever afterlife they wanted to. But I can see them trying to bring back some familiar faces.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, I doubt it because again, the whole point that the Maitlands move on. If they were to recast the Maitlands and get new young actors to play a young Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, I can see them trying that for three, but only for that film. You know what I mean? Or the
Maybe
musical.
I do think though. Well, obviously, if a musical gets an adaptation, they'll be bringing Maitlands back because they're big characters in that. But I do think that they could just bring back Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin and because because yes, they're dead, so maybe technically they shouldn't age, but like Beetlejuice aged and he's
Well,
dead.
I think the only thing is that like luckily they have the excuse of makeup and him being
Mhm.
a ghost. Because for the most part, you can't really tell his age except with the way Michael moves compared to when he was younger. Because in the '88 film, he clearly is faster when he runs or
Mhm.
walks, while in the 2024 film, he deliberately walks slow.
Yeah.
So like that's the only real thing.
I think though, what I would say if a for like a third film and bringing the Maitlands back is like I would establish it in canon that ghost and dead people they can choose whether they age or not. I would and like have that they chose to age because like I could the Maitlands feel like a couple that would want to be able to grow old together, and and they obviously wouldn't be able to if they don't have that choice. And I think that I think that if they were to establish that they had that choice, they would probably choose to grow old together, and that fixes the problem. And you could have that I by the end of the third film maybe Lydia ends up dying, and that and she then goes to visit them in their heaven.
I can definitely see that, and also like there is kind of in regards to aging, there is a precedent for that because in the first film during the exorcism, and you can see Adam and Barbara during that scene they shrivel up and get old, which implies that ghosts can be destroyed forever.
Mhm.
Because even Lydia's like they're dying, and then of course that one guy is like, no, they're ghosts, they can't feel a thing. But she's like, but look at them, this isn't right. Because I think the implication, if you don't go to somewhere, whether it's on Earth or to an afterlife, you will cease to be in some way. So there is a kind of precedent. I think ghosts can age, maybe after a few centuries or so. So it could be one of those. So I see that being an actual thing. Because I do think if you were a ghost, you could potentially manipulate your image to a point,
Yeah,
maybe, depending on how much you get.
I mean, you could make your face look crazy to scare people. So like, I don't see a reason why you couldn't manipulate it to make yourself look older.
Because there's one thing that is kind of interesting: the afterlife agency. Seemingly, I guess depending on whatever job you get, you do get powers.
Mhm.
Because uh, even like the cops, the ghost cops, and some people connected to Beetlejuice, they're all clearly manipulated in different ways because of whatever a power.
Now, really quick, I going back to like the Miss Argentina thing. What do you think of my idea of Zoe Deschanel as an actress to play her?
But I could, de-
I feel like she fits the character really well.
or I think they could definitely do that. Uh, there's a lot of the question is whether just sometimes Tim Burton with his casting, either he goes to get new people or he just brings back an old favorite of his. So when
Mhm.
it comes to something like that, I wonder if he would pull back an actress he already knows, or would he try work with Zoe Deschanel? Because I think that's a good idea. It's good casting. I'm trying to think because like they never worked together, so he could be interested. I think.
I she feels like someone who would enjoy working with Tim Burton. And so I think that something like that possible. If he were to like want to cast someone that he's already worked with, you could maybe bring in um Emma Myers who plays Enid in Wednesday. I Speaking of Wednesday though, I for a third film, another actor that he that's from there that I think I could absolutely see him bringing in is in season two. What was his name? I'm blanking his name, but like the season two's new principal actor, I think you would probably want like having it. Let me see. Um, Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he could. I think he would really fit in the Beetlejuice franchise well.
Oh yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
some character.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. I can see that. I definitely see that because I haven't seen Wednesday yet. I've seen like maybe the first part of the episode. I gotta get back to that show. But yeah, Steve Buscemi is a great actor, and he definitely fits Tim Burton's vibe. I could
Mm-hmm.
definitely like him. Even Jackie Earle Haley, who was in Dark Shadows. Uh, I could definitely see so many actors coming back for a third Beetlejuice film.
And then also like from Wednesday, yeah, I think I could see him bringing in Catherine Zeta-Jones owns and
Louis Guzman.
yeah, Louis Guzman and like I think they would also fit it very well. And I think Louise Guzman would be really funny in the Beetlejuice universe.
Oh yeah, for sure. Whether it be as a ghost or as a funny human, for sure.
Yeah, like I feel I could see them having him be like having him be a funny human, but he's like a conspiracy theorist human who believes in the underworld, but people think he's crazy.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that happening, and also
Like
like
something
this
like
kind
that
of.
feels like it would fit him.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that happening, and it's there. There's a lot of places they could go for a third film.
Mhm.
Because obviously Lydia's a famous TV sidekick,
Yeah.
and spoiler if you haven't seen Beetlejuice too, but her fiance, played by Justin Theroux, he dies at one point. He goes away, and I'm like, in theory, this will make her look bad, or people would assume she did something, or
Mhm.
maybe people looking into his death will discover more of the supernatural because we see Beetlejuice and the ghost possessing a lot of people, whether it be like the pastor and people in town see stuff. Now, in theory, like I'm not gonna lie, it would be kind of cool for the third film. Things blow up in a big way where not do people find out they see some stuff they're not supposed to see. Like
Yeah, I
everyone
could
finds
definitely
out.
see that happening. Um, I think though for a third film, one thing that is like that they should definitely like, try to do just so we're not like rehashing the same thread again is like I make it not be set at the same house. Like I don't think like it would be weird to have the third film be like, oh, they're coming back to that house again.
Well, what's funny? One of the few sequel ideas that Tim Burton liked before he got the second film was Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii, where the Deets was going to move to Hawaii, and then Beetlejuice finds out the hotel is being built, on like a native Hawaiian burial ground, so that he and the Hawaiian goes fuck around with all the tourists. Which is just being developed in the 90s. Kevin Smith mentioned it in
Mhm.
regards to Superman Lives talk. He's like, no. They had a great script called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaii. Tim Burton loved it. He was actually considering
That would be really
doing
cool.
a film in Hawaii about Beetlejuice and the Deeds fucking around. In theory, it would be funny if that becomes the third film, where
Uh,
Astrid or someone else goes to Hawaii, stuff goes wrong, and they call out Beetlejuice for help.
that would definitely be really cool. And like I think like both. I think that would be cool because like I think it would be hilarious seeing a Beetlejuice in a tropical
Climate, yeah.
land, and also but also like just simply the idea of Beetlejuice getting an entire hotel to mess with people at would be so much fun.
Yeah. And I think it might have inspired some visuals in the cartoon because I swear there's a moment in the cartoon he wears a Hawaiian shirt, which might be a
There's
reference to the
probably
script.
there's
Yeah.
probably I haven't watched the whole cartoon, but I've seen a couple episodes. Like that absolutely seems like something they probably would have done.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, trying to think. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about out about Beetlejuice, or just surrounding the franchise?
Yeah, I think Beetlejuice is kind of like it's kind of funny because it feels like a thematic sibling to the Addams Family or the Monsters. It has that
Mm-hmm.
feel. And again, I hope, regardless where the franchise goes in a couple of years, I hope any Beetlejuice future film or musical or whatever, it just has fun with the character. Because I
Oh
think
yeah.
with the nice cartoon and then the sequel, and just from what I've heard about this musical, they kind of cracked a code of what to do with him as a trickster character.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so Beetlejuice is always perfect for Halloween and also just perfect for fun. So if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it or want to rewatch, just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the Adams family, though, I highly doubt this would ever happen because of Ortega both playing Wednesday and Astrid, but like it would be really cool a Beetlejuice Adams family crossover. I think it would be so funny seeing Beetlejuice's reaction to how morbid the Adams family is. Like I feel like sign like that would be sign that would make like Beetlejuice be the one who's scared.
That would be kind of funny. And yeah, that does seem like, again, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, that would be easy for a crossover. And, they can even kind of pull like a funny little, like, you know how with Nickelodeon, when they cross over iCarly and Victorious, and the
Mm-hmm.
joke with Victoria Justice playing both Tori is that she plays someone else on iCarly. So they kept going, hey, do you look familiar when they finally met Tori? So like I could definitely it would be funny to see Jenna Ortega play two characters in the same film
Yeah.
and and one is Wednesday, the other one isn't. Just that would be kind of funny.
I feel like I sadly it's not the case anymore, but like I feel like it would have been a lot more likely had Netflix been successful in trying to buy Warner Brothers, because they obviously have the rights to the Wednesday show, and the and Warner Brothers has the rights to Beetlejuice.
Yeah, yeah. We'll
Like
see. We'll see what will happen
oh yeah,
next. Yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely. I really hope though that they do decide soon to make that third film. I seem to remember, or like sadly, just like a month or two ago, Tim Burton said that he wasn't sure the third film would happen, which is annoying because I'm like, there's definitely more story to tell.
yeah.
He was like, if I remember, right, he said something like, he doesn't know where they could take any more story for Beetlejuice. I'm like, there's so many ways you could take more story for Beetlejuice. Because he's very much a character who can go anywhere and you can create a story around him.
Oh yeah. I can definitely see that. Yeah, yeah. I completely agree. I still think a third film's gonna happen. But even with Tim Burton being busy with Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
I think in regards to where he is film wise, I'm like, it's clear like two. They're two got a lot of good reviews, and I argue some of the best reviews Tim Burton has gotten in a while compared to some of his other
It
recent
not
films.
only had a lot of good reviews, it was at least good reviews outside of the people who are obsessed with the nostalgia for the first film, so they aren't willing to let themselves like the second film. But also, the second film made a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It made like $300 million versus if I remember right, the first film made like half that. So like there's I think that it would be insane if Warner Brothers doesn't want a third film.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they want it, and I could definitely see Keaton and Ryder trying to convince Tim for three. I think because they all seem, because even during the press for two, they seem very confident. Oh yeah, we're gonna do a third film because this is the most fun we all had in a while. All three of them together, like just and also even if they don't make a third film, I kind of hope Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder do more projects together
Yeah.
because they're a very underrated duo. I think.
If like I feel like Winona Ryder or and Jen Ortega, they definitely would be very down for a third film. Uh, um, as I said, sadly, Tim Burton and doesn't seem so confident about the idea. But like also just like the kind of guy that Michael Keaton is, he seems like someone who he's never sure about anything any upcoming that he's gonna do. He seems very like eh, if it comes, I'll do it. If it doesn't, I don't care.
Yeah, he's very much in the moment. He's always been kind of like like most creative people. He's very reactionary, I think. So, but yeah, a third film has got to happen because I would be shocked if it doesn't happen,
Mhm.
unless like something else like really happens. And and also one thing I'll say before we end this video, uh, Catherine O'Hara passed away this
Yeah,
year, and man, like she's so funny. I argue she's more funny in two than the first film because she has more
I
lines.
definitely agree. I think she's a very likable character in the second one. I don't think that her character is very likable in the first film.
She definitely changed. We see her change for the better in two.
And I'm very glad that they made her very likable in the second film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she was a such a talented actress, and it does very much sadden me that she's passed away.
Yeah. And
Um,
also, because when I was watching it, because I rewatched both films earlier today, I rewatched them on my HBO Max. So when I rewatched the second film, they had a little thank you Catherine O'Hara tribute before it
that's
started. So
nice.
that was sweet. Yeah.
It's really cool whenever our films, like even films that came out before someone passed away, they change it for this streaming release to to be more a sign that is trying to and honor them more. Or I I think there was one there was a film that Stan Lee was in for Marvel that that they changed the opening for or after he passed away, which was really cool.
Oh yeah, it was Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel was
Like
the first film that came out after his
yes,
passing. So they
but
had
I seem to remember like there being something else though that it had originally come out before he passed away, but then on streaming release or it got they was had a change. And maybe I'm wrong. I do know though that there was like I think it was for the Once Upon a Deadpool version of Deadpool 2.
Oh yeah, yeah, they
There
did do
was
that.
a
Yeah, yeah,
they so that came out
yeah.
if I remember right
Christmas.
just like a few weeks after or Stanley
Yeah,
passed
yeah, it
and
did.
they
Yeah,
um Ryan had them add a sign a graffiti thing on the side of a building that saying like rest in peace Stanley
yeah, yeah. They
with a
they did do
picture of
that. Yeah,
him, which was really cool.
yeah, they did do that because in Christmas of 2018 is when It's the Spider-Verse came out. And there's one Stan Lee cameo that actually hits differently because he didn't know he was going
Oh
to pass
yeah.
away. But when he's in the shop and he starts to Miles, he says, "I'm gonna miss him." Regardless of Spider-Man. Now they didn't know what that would be different after Stan Lee's passing because like obviously no one saw it coming. But like yeah, but it is kind because even when I was rewatching Beetlejuice 2 earlier, And of course, her character, Catherine O'Hara's character, she does die. She does go to the afterlife. There's one darkly funny moment, but it is kind of like, oh yeah, she is like, because she's like, I'm not dead. Like the character says, I'm not dead. And the ghost tell her, sweetie, if you're here, you're dead. So I'm like, that's the only thing I'm like, okay, it's kind of jarring, but I know it's the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not too
And
depressing, I
that's
think.
oh yeah. But yeah, it's I definitely hope though if they do a third or Beetlejuice film that they put sign honoring Catherine O'Hara in it.
I can definitely see that. And
Yeah.
I do hope
Um,
with the third film, they you know, because one of the best parts with two, it's actually kind of funny because with both films, it's always about family. So I am curious to see the next stage of family in that third film
oh yeah,
when and if it happens.
definitely. Definitely. With like with how so suddenly Catherine O'Hara passed. I'm curious about since her she was a pretty prominent character in Seth Rogen's studio show. What's gonna happen with that at her second season? Did she film all her scenes already? Are they gonna be changing some stuff so that she won't have to come back? The character won't have to come back for season three. What's gonna happen with that? I imagine whatever it'll be though. Just knowing Seth Rogen, it will be something very much honoring her, and like be very respectful of her.
Well, I could definitely. I don't know. I still want to get it back into the studio because I saw some season one and I thought it was really good. I could definitely see just across the studio. I could definitely see them having the character pass away peacefully off screen, and then maybe if they wanted to get a friend of Catherine O'Hara who is an actor to play a new character in her spot in tribute, just for like a few episodes, depending on
Yeah,
like if we go to Ryder or Macaulay Culkin wanted to show up
I
in
could
honor
definitely
of
see
Catherine. I
something
could
like that
definitely see something like
happen.
that happen. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that's really everything I talk about though. So thank you everyone for listening. If you like this game analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love your thoughts on the Beetlejuice franchise, so please let me know. If you'd like to listen more from me, please subscribe. Many more game analysis on me coming, so keep on the lookout. This game is your host, Master John, signing off.